My name is Leanne Borgen from Henderson Brothers Financial Partners. I'm here to talk to you about budgeting, how to put a budget in place, how to use that budget to work toward whatever goals you're hoping to achieve. And during this session, we'll talk about the items that you see here. We'll do an introduction to Henderson Brothers Financial Partners, talk about how to create a budget, what tools and resources you have available, and how Henderson Brothers Financial Partners can help. Before we dive in, I want to give you a quick snapshot of who we are. Founded in 1893, Henderson Brothers has spent more than 130 years helping businesses, individuals, and families protect what matters most and plan confidently for the future. We provide a wide range of services, but today's discussion ties most closely to Henderson Brothers Financial Partners, our independent financial planning and retirement consulting team, which is the team I'm part of. As the financial advisor to your retirement plan, our team goes beyond helping oversee the plan itself. We're here to support participants like you with retirement readiness, financial wellness, and guidance that helps you make informed decisions throughout your financial journey. A little later, I'll walk through how we support you not just with your retirement plan, but with your overall financial wellness too. So why do we budget in the first place? Well, it really comes down to setting financial goals. Financial goals help give your money direction. Without them, it's easy to spend without really thinking about the bigger picture. When you have clear goals, your day-to-day decisions like spending, saving, or even cutting back start to feel more purposeful. Short-term goals are typically things you're working toward in the near future, months to a few years. Budgeting itself is actually a goal. It's the foundation that helps you manage everything else. Managing debt is another common short-term goal, whether that's paying down credit cards or loans. Emergency savings is a big one. We want to have a cushion for those unexpected expenses. And life insurance fits here too, making sure your family is protected financially. Long-term goals, on the other side, are things that take years, sometimes decades, to accomplish. Retirement planning is often the biggest one. We're planning for income we'll need later in life. Estate planning is about making sure your wishes are carried out and your assets are handled properly. Saving for college, whether for children, grandchildren, or even yourself, can take years of preparation. And long-term care is something many people don't think about right away, but it's an important part of planning ahead. And as you think about some of your financial goals that fit on this list, keep in mind a budget isn't about restriction. It's about making sure your money is working towards the things that matter most to you. Simply put, everyday spending decisions play a significant role in overall financial wellness. Creating a budget can help you balance today's needs with tomorrow's goals. Budgeting isn't about restriction, but control and clarity. When you budget, you may be surprised that you can save a little bit more each month. It can also help you see your spending habits so you can make better choices on what to spend your money on. Building a budget helps you avoid overspending just by being more aware of where your money's going. It helps make sure your expenses are covered each month so there are fewer surprises. It gives you a way to start making real progress on paying down debt. And maybe most importantly, it helps you consistently save towards your goals, whether that's building an emergency fund, planning for retirement, or something else that's meaningful to you. Now that we've talked about goals, the next step is putting a simple structure around your money so you can actually make progress toward that. What I want to show you next are 3 really practical ideas that can help make budgeting feel a lot more manageable. In this section, we'll look at a simple way to think about how your paycheck gets divided up. The 50-30-20 rule for budgeting helps you to save first instead of waiting to see what's left over. And we'll wrap it up with the 1% rule for impulse buying, a really simple trick to help with those everyday spending decisions, especially the ones that tend to happen without much planning, and we all have those moments. Before we get into the numbers, I wanted to emphasize this is not a strict formula. Think of it more as a guide or a starting point to help you see where your money is going. About half of your income typically goes towards your needs, the things you have to pay to keep your life running. So things like housing, utilities, groceries, or insurance. These are your non-negotiables. Then we have about 30% for our wants. This is your lifestyle spending. Dining out, streaming services, hobbies, travel, things you enjoy but could cut back on if needed. This is where you have the most flexibility. And then about 20% goes towards improving your financial future. This includes paying down debt beyond the minimum and building savings. Emergency funds, retirement contributions, or other financial goals all fall into this category. This is a really simple idea called the 1% rule. It's just a way to slow things down before making a bigger non-essential purchase. The idea is if something costs more than about 1% of your annual income, it's worth taking a step back before buying it. We've all had moments where we bought something in the moment and later thought, I didn't really need that. This just creates a little space between the impulse and the decision. Don't get too caught up in calculating the exact number. This isn't about being precise. It's really just a quick way to say, is this a bigger purchase that deserves a second thought? If it is, give yourself 24 hours before you make the decision. That pause alone can help you separate what feels exciting in the moment from what makes sense long term. During that pause, ask yourself a few simple questions. Will I still want this tomorrow? Does this align with my financial goals? And is this really the best use of my money right now? So now that we've talked about structure and some helpful guidelines, let's bring this down to something very practical: how to actually create a monthly budget. This first step is simply tracking your spending for a month. This doesn't have to be perfect, just getting a general picture is incredibly helpful. A lot of people are surprised by what they find when they actually look at it. Next, you'll want to understand what you're actually bringing home each month, your take-home pay. This is the number you're working with when building your budget. Then you compare the two: what's coming in versus what's going out. This is where things really start to click. You can see if everything lines up or where there might be a gap. Finally, it's about committing to spending within your means each month. This doesn't mean being perfect, it just means making small adjustments and staying consistent over time. So right away, we can see we're overspending. This is incredibly common. A lot of people don't realize this is happening until they actually sit down and look at the numbers. Now, when we look at this, most of these expenses are pretty fixed. Things like rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, car. There's usually not a lot of flexibility in the short term, but then we get to some categories that we'd consider more flexible, lifestyle type expenses. This is often where we see money quietly adding up without really noticing it month to month. It's not bad to spend money on the things we enjoy, it's just being aware of how much is going there. So the question becomes, what happens if we make just a few small adjustments in those areas? Let's go back to that same example we just looked at. We identified that the budget was overspending. But the key question was, what happens if we make a few small adjustments? In this version, nothing major has changed in the fixed expenses. We didn't touch rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, or the car payment. The only changes were in those more flexible areas, shopping and dining out. Instead of $500 to each, we reduced both of them to $250. So we're not eliminating them, we're just scaling them back a bit. Now, when we add everything up, instead of being over budget, we actually have a $330 surplus. Now that surplus can be used in a much more purposeful way. It could go toward building an emergency fund, paying debt faster, or increasing retirement savings. For most people, it's not about finding thousands of extra dollars. It's about finding a few areas where you can make adjustments that add up over time. So now let's bring everything together and talk about how you can actually apply what we've covered. Remember, at the end of the day, budgeting isn't about getting everything perfect. It's about taking small, intentional steps forward. And this is really your starting point. It starts with understanding your fixed expenses, those things that are pretty consistent each month. Then estimating your variable expenses like groceries, dining out, and shopping, those areas where you tend to have a little bit more flexibility. From there, look at your take-home income, what you're actually working with each month, and then compare the two: what's coming in versus what's going out. And if needed, you make adjustments, just like we saw in that example. It's about aligning your spending with your goals. When you budget, you're not just cutting back, you're redirecting your money toward what matters most to you. You already have access to tools and resources through your retirement plan provider that can really help support everything we talked about today. One of the simplest steps you can take is just logging into your account. From there, you can review your balances and contributions to make sure you're on track. You can also update things like your contribution rate, beneficiaries, or personal information. Many providers also offer planning tools that let you see how today's decisions can impact your future. So things like retirement projections or different saving scenarios. That can really help connect today's budget decisions with your long-term goals. Before we wrap up, I want to show you one resource that really brings everything together. This is a tool we've made available to you called Venrollment. What I love about this resource is how easy it is to use. There's no login required. You can simply scan the QR code on the screen and it will take you right to your personalized site. This page is built specifically for your plan, so everything is tailored to you. It's really meant to be a one-stop place where you can go for information, support, and next steps. Right at the top, you'll see a short video walking through your plan highlights, so if you ever want a quick refresher, it's right there. You can also schedule a one-on-one meeting directly from this page, whether you want to talk through your budget, your retirement plan, or just ask questions. You'll also find important contact information, plan documents, and links to your provider all in one place. So instead of trying to track everything down, it's all easily accessible. Another great piece is the library of short videos on financial wellness and retirement topics. So if something we talked about today sparked your interest, this is a great place to keep learning at your own pace. And this really reflects the support that's available to you. This isn't just something you have to figure out on your own. If you take one step after today, I'd encourage you to scan the code and just take a look around. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Financial planning isn't one size fits all. Where you are in your financial journey matters, and everyone listening to this presentation is likely at a different stage. This slide highlights a few common life stages, from just starting out to mid-career to nearing retirement and into retirement. You might fit neatly into one category, or maybe you're in a mix of these categories. No matter where you are in this journey, this is where we come in. At Henderson Brothers Financial Partners, we're here to support you at every stage, whether you're just getting started or already thinking about retirement income. That could be answering a quick question, helping you think through a decision, or sitting down one-on-one to build a plan. You don't have to have everything figured out before reaching out. That's what we're here for. So if you ever find yourself asking those types of questions, I want you to know you have access to support. And that brings us to how you can get in touch with me. You can reach out directly or schedule time to connect one-on-one, whatever works best for you. Whether it's a quick question or a more in-depth conversation, I'm always happy to help. My goal is to make this feel approachable and manageable no matter where you're starting from. That brings us to the end of our Budgeting Basics seminar. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you're walking away with a few practical ideas you can put into action right away.